Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. A few weeks ago I made a video talking about how to be an au pair in Germany, and it seemed to have helped a lot of people and sparked a lot of discussion, and I got a lot of questions, and I'm going to try to make more videos talking about this topic, and I hope to help somebody who's looking for this information. So today's video is about how to extend your visa after the au pair year. Au pair in Germany is 12 months, maximum 18 months. So a lot of people were asking, okay, what are the ways that I can use to extend my stay in Germany? What are my possibilities? What are my options? And this is what this video is about. So I have my phone right here. I have a few notes that I took down so that I don't miss out any points. So my favorite ways of extending your visa after the au pair year are as follows. Number one, studies. I will talk about all these points, in detail. Studies. So under studies, I have two categories. I have the category of the people that qualify for direct entry to university, and I have the category of people that don't qualify for direct entry. How can they acquire these entry requirements? I will break that down for you, and I will put all the important links in the description box. So just take a look. Number two, it's voluntary work. So you can do what is called a social year in Germany, a freiwilliges soziales Jahr, or BFD, Bundesfreiwilligendienst. I will also put all those links down below. Or you can do an apprenticeship or professional training, which is called an Ausbilding. Or you can find a job after your au pair year if you're qualified and lucky enough. So what you need to ask yourself before you even start to be an au pair or during the au pair year is, what do I want? Like, what do you want to do? What's your end goal? Because the point is not just to extend your visa from year to year. You must be working towards something. You have to ask yourself, what is the end goal? And then you have to ask yourself, so what am I supposed to do? And then you have to ask yourself, do I qualify? Do I qualify, and do I have all the entry requirements? If you don't have all the entry requirements, then you need to start finding out, how can I get them? What are the dates? Stuff like that. And then you need to have all the important dates in mind and come up with the way of filling up any gaps, if there are any gaps. But what I mean by that is, let's say for example, your au pair year ends in April, but the next semester only starts in October. So you have a gap of about 5 months. And you don't necessarily want to go back home, because once you go back home, it's very hard to come back. And there are some really good ways of filling up gaps. I will get into that. And okay, so let's start from the beginning. Okay, so there's an Ausbildung, or you can get a job if you're qualified and if you're lucky enough. Those are my ways of extending your visa. So let's get into detail, starting with studies. So the first category is those people that qualify to study. If you qualify to study, then you need to start finding the courses that you want to study and which university offers it. What do they want? What are the application deadlines? Stuff like that. The best website to use to find courses, English courses in Germany, is the DAAD.de. I will put it down below. You can change it into English, so it's really easy to navigate, and then you can just go under international programs, international study programs, and then you can it's very easy to navigate. You can, if you're looking for engineering courses or business courses, then you just put international business or management, put the level that you want, bachelor, master's, or PhD, the language that you want to study, English, and then you search, and then it shows you everything, and then you can just play around. What is the maximum amount of fees you want to pay? Do you want to start in the winter? Do you want to start in the summer? And all that jazz. I will make an intensive video on studying, so if you're not subscribed, subscribe, and don't miss any videos of mine. So I'm not going to go very much into detail about that, because I'm going to dedicate a whole video to that. And then the second category is those people that don't qualify to study. So if you don't qualify to study, for example, if you have ZIMSEC, if you come from Zimbabwe, you don't qualify for direct entry, then you need to do a bridging course that is called Student Colleague. Now, a Student Colleague is 2 semesters, but the boring thing about Student Colleague is that it cannot be done in English. You have to do it in German, and you need to build your German to B2 level. That's the required level. So during your au pair year, you really have to work hard and practice your German, because there's an entrance test. Then you can apply, take the entrance test, and then, you know, if you pass, then you can extend your visa and move on to a Student Colleague. If your language is not good enough, you are permitted to extend your visa and to do a language course. So it's called a language school, you know, like a language school visa, basically. So you have 1 year to do your language, then you can move on to do your Student Colleague, then you can start studying. And I forgot to mention, if you're from Zimbabwe, to qualify directly for university, you must have Cambridge. So you need to have 3 O levels and AS level and 2 A levels, plus an English certificate, the IELTS or the TOEFL. But I will give you all that information in the next video that's dedicated to studies. So moving on to voluntary work and social year. So there's 2 ways you can volunteer: the FSJ and the BFD. You know, the FSJ is the Freiwilligen Soziales Dienst, and the BFD is the Bundesfreiwilligendienst. It's basically the same thing. The only thing that's different is with the age requirements. For the FSJ, you must be between the ages of 18 and 27. So you can't do the FSJ if you're above the age of 27. For the BFD, you need to be above 18, but there's no age limit. Now that's really great, because a lot of people, you know, contact me and they're above the age of, you know, 27, and basically running out of options. You also can't be an au pair if you're above the age of 27. So those are the only requirements. And I read somewhere that you must have been to be able to qualify to do voluntary work. You must have lived in Germany for a minimum of 6 months. So you can't just, you know, apply from outside the country and you've never resided in Germany. So it's perfect for extending your visa after the au pair year. And you must be able to speak good German. They require a B1 certificate. You must be able to communicate. Your German shouldn't be perfect, but you must be able to, you know, communicate. Now, for this voluntary work, there are 3 sectors that you can volunteer in. The social sector, which is the largest, which is where you can work in a hospital, in old people's homes. You can work in any places where there are disabled people, like in homes, in schools, stuff like that. That's where most of the jobs are. But you can also volunteer in the environmental field or environmental sector, where you can work in a zoo or in a national park, or for these big garden projects. And you can also work in cultural and sporting fields, like in a museum, in a theater and stuff like that. So also you have to ask yourself, what is the end goal? If in the end you want to do an apprenticeship and do nursing, then apply to do your FSJ in a hospital. That way you're already gaining work experience and you're going to improve your language specifically for the type of job that you're going to do. If you're going to want to be to later then go to university and study to be a preschool teacher, or to, you know, stuff like that, then do your FSJ or your BFD in a kindergarten. You know, you're already gaining the work experience, and that will count as work experience for your degree. If your degree requires prior work experience in that field, that will count. So, you know, everything you do, every step you take, every decision that you make has to make sense for the end goal. It's not just about jumping from year to year, extending your visa, and you are going in all directions, going nowhere. Okay, so for the FSJ and the BFD, You work 8 hours a day. It's almost like a full-time job. You work 8 hours a day, and you have I think it's 25 days holiday that you can take in that year, and you get paid 400 euros. Now that's not really a lot of money, but they take care of a lot of stuff. Like when I did my social year, I did my social year with the Diakonie, which is a big organization that I absolutely love. I still do a lot for them and volunteer with them. I was offered free accommodation. I got a train ticket, a monthly train ticket to get to work, so I didn't have to pay for my transport, and they paid for my medical aid. So it's like all the big expenses are paid for, and then the money you get is just yours, and you know, for food, stuff like that, which is okay, you know. And I will link all those websites down below, and then you can check that out. Not all websites are in English. There's nothing I can do about that, but if you have questions, just put them down below, and I will try to answer all the questions. Now, moving on to the third way of extending your visa, an apprenticeship or professional training, which is called an Outbuilding. So you can do an Outbuilding for things like nursing, physiotherapy. You can also do an Outbuilding for, you know, like business stuff, engineering, secretarial courses and things like that. But then again, you need to make sure that you also inquire with the Foreign Office where you are, whether or not they will allow you to do an Ausbildung. When I finished my social year, I wanted to do an Ausbildung, and I got a place and I actually started. But when my visa was expiring and I went to the Foreign Office, they told me, no, you cannot do an Ausbildung. We reserve Ausbildungs for Germans. If there is no other German that wants to take the spot, then you can have it. But my visa was expiring and I didn't have time. So, you know, that opportunity just fell off the wagon, basically. And luckily I had a plan B, but if you don't have a plan B, you might find yourself being deported because you don't have a visa. I say that because, and I tell that story because at the same time that this was happening to me, there was another Zimbabwean girl doing the exact same thing in a different city, and she got the visa and she managed to do it. So you have to make sure that you also inquire. When it comes to an Ausbildung, it's a little bit tricky. You have to inquire with your Foreign Office and hopefully get it in writing that you can go ahead and apply for that. Then moving on, getting a job. Well, most au pairs are young people straight out of high school, so you're not qualified. But if you come here and you already have your first degree, and you build your language during your au pair year, you might be lucky and get a job, and you can extend your visa like that. But that's really not what happens to a lot of people. And a bonus way of extending your visa after your au pair year is, I'm reluctant to talk about this one, but it is an option, getting married. Now, I don't encourage people to get married just to stay here. It is a crime, and you might find yourself in a really horrible situation where, you know, you end up being manipulated, or like I said, it's illegal. It's a crime to just get married to stay here. But that is definitely an option. If you meet the right person, if you fall in love. I remember when I was after my au pair year and I was doing my social year, there was a Kenyan girl who had a room right next to mine, and she met her boyfriend during the au pair year, and I think, yeah, they got married the following year while she was also doing her social year. So, you know, these things happen, and that is definitely an option. I hope you found this video useful and helpful. If you have any other questions, just comment them down below, or you can follow me on Facebook, where I also get a lot of engagement about such questions. And yeah, I try to do my best to give the information about life here in Germany, and this is what this channel is about. And I like to share information. I find it really silly to have information and not pass it on to people that might need it, because someone else's success doesn't take from your success. I know people who hog information. That was a big problem that I had when I was an au pair. I had no idea what to do, where to go, where to look, how to do things. And you know, I depended on other people, and I would call people to say, okay, so you know, other au pairs, other girls, what are you doing? What information do you have? You know, give me some tips, give me help. And some people would be like, oh, I don't know, oh, I don't know. And then only to realize a few months later that they're doing something and they never shared that information, and they had the information that you were searching for, and I've never really understood that. So I try to share all the information. If there's information that you want about, you know, life in Germany, how the system works, I will share stuff as much as I know. I don't know everything. I don't know, you know, and you know, the laws are constantly changing, but I will give you as much information as I can. Yeah. So thank you for watching my video. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, and watch my next videos as well. Have a nice day, guys. Bye.